Well, we are starting to feel the tropical warning from Hermione. It's only going to get rougher from here. It's looking south. The wind's picking up. Alexa, open Big Sky.
Currently, it's 81 degrees with mostly cloudy skies, remaining that way for the hour. Tonight, you can expect partly cloudy skies, turning rain by morning, with an overnight low of 76 degrees. There is the following weather alert in effect. Would you like to hear more details?
Yes.
In southeast Georgia, tropical storm warning remains in effect for all areas Friday. New information. Changes to watches and warnings. Non-current watches and warnings. A tropical storm warning remains in effect for Jenkins, Screven, Candler, Bullock, Effingham, Tatnall, Evans, Inland Bryan, Coastal Bryan, Inland Chatham, Coastal Chatham, Long, Inland Liberty, Coastal Liberty, Inland McIntosh, Coastal McIntosh, Allendale, Hampton, Inland Colleton, Dorchester, Inland Berkeley, Inland Jasper, Beaufort, Coastal Colleton, Charleston, Coastal Jasper and Tidal Berkeley storm information. About 420 miles southwest of Charleston, SC, or about 340 miles southwest of Savannah, GA, 28.5 and 85.0 watts. Storm intensity 75 miles per hour. Movement north-northeast or 30 degrees Rs at 14 miles per hour. Situation overview. Hurricane Hermina is expected to make landfall late tonight over the Florida Panhandle. After landfall, Hermina is expected to become a tropical storm that will track northeast across southeast Georgia and southeast South Carolina Friday and Friday night. Impacts from Hermina could begin across southeast Georgia and the adjacent coastal waters by early Friday morning, then impacts will spread toward the north and east into southeast South Carolina and the adjacent coastal waters Friday and Friday night. Hermina will produce heavy rainfall amounts of 3 to 8 inches, highest across inland counties, and locally greater amounts are possible. This heavy rain could produce localized flash flooding. Also, widespread tropical storm force winds are expected. Sustained winds could range from 35 to 45 miles per hour inland to 45 to 50 miles per hour near the coast. Winds gusts could range from 50 to 60 miles per hour inland to as high as 60 to 70 miles per hour near the coast. At any given location, tropical storm force winds could occur over a 10 to 14 hour period. Further, there is a slight risk for tornadoes as early as late tonight in southeast Georgia, Friday across the entire region, and into Friday evening across southeast South Carolina. This risk of tornadoes could reside east of inland communities including Millen, Sylvania, and Allendale. Finally, dangerous RIP currents will continue, and beach erosion and minor saltwater flooding are possible, especially around the times of the morning and evening high tides Friday. Potential impacts. Wind. Prepare for dangerous wind having possible significant impacts across southeast South Carolina and southeast Georgia. Potential impacts include some damage to roofing and siding materials, along with damage to porches, awnings, carports, and sheds. A few buildings experiencing window, door, and garage door failures. Mobile homes damaged, especially if unanchored. Unsecured lightweight objects become dangerous projectiles. Several large trees snapped or uprooted, but with greater numbers in places where trees are shallow-rooted. Several fences and roadway signs blown over. Some roads impassable from large debris, and more within urban or heavily wooded places. A few bridges and access routes impassable. Travel by vehicle or on foot increasingly difficult. Increasing danger of death or injury from falling objects such as trees or electric wires outside. Scattered power and communications outages, but more prevalent in areas with above-ground lines, which could persist for hours or days. Some poorly secured small craft could break loose from their moorings. Flooding rain. Prepare for dangerous rainfall flooding having possible significant impacts across southeast Georgia and southeast South Carolina. Potential impacts include moderate rainfall flooding may prompt some evacuations and rescues. Rivers and tributaries may quickly become swollen with swifter currents and overspill their banks in a few places, especially in normally vulnerable spots. Small streams, creeks, canals, and ditches overflow. Floodwaters can enter some structures or weaken foundations. Several places may experience expanded areas of rapid inundation at underpasses, low-lying spots, and poor drainage areas. Some streets and parking lots take on moving water as storm drains and retention ponds overflow. Driving conditions become hazardous. Some road and bridge closures. Prepare for locally hazardous rainfall flooding having possible limited impacts across southeast Georgia and southeast South Carolina. Tornadoes. Prepare for a tornado event having possible limited impacts across southeast South Carolina and southeast Georgia. Potential impacts include: isolated tornadoes can hinder the execution of emergency plans. Isolated locations could experience tornado damage, along with power and communications disruptions. In isolated locations, tornadoes could damage trees, vehicles, boats and buildings, especially mobile homes and other poorly constructed structures. Other coastal hazards. Expect a high risk for life-threatening RIP currents, minor salt water flooding and beach erosion. Surge. Little to no impacts are anticipated at this time across southeast South Carolina and southeast Georgia. Precautionary/preparedness actions. Other preparedness information. Now is the time to check your emergency plan and take necessary actions to secure your home or business. Deliberate efforts should be underway to protect life and property. Ensure that your emergency supplies kit is stocked and ready. If you live in a place that is particularly vulnerable to high wind, such as a mobile home, an upper floor of a high-rise building, or on a boat, plan to move to safe shelter. Take enough supplies for you and your family for several days. If you live in a place particularly vulnerable to flooding, such as near the ocean or a large inland lake, in a low-lying or poor drainage area, or near an already swollen river, plan to move to safe shelter on higher ground. When securing your property, outside preparations should be conducted as soon as possible before conditions deteriorate. The onset of strong gusty winds and heavy rain can cause certain preparedness activities to become unsafe. Visitors to the area should become familiar with nearby surroundings. If you are a visitor, know the name of the county or parish in which you are located and where it is relative to current watches and warnings. If staying at a hotel, ask the management staff about their on-site disaster plan. Closely monitor NOAA weather radio or other local news outlets for official storm information. Listen for possible changes to the forecast. Additional sources of information. For information on appropriate preparations, see ready.gov. For information on creating an emergency plan, see getagame.org. For additional disaster preparedness information, see redcross.org. Next update. The next local statement will be issued by the National Weather Service in Charleston, SC around midnight EDT, or sooner if conditions warrant.
Alexa, thank you.
You're welcome.
Hey everybody, my name's Gippy. I just want to let y'all know I'm going to be down for a while. The power may go out with this tropical depression moving in on me off the Gulf. Anyway, I just thought you might want to know. It sort of got me sad. Pray for me. Thanks. Bye.